What's up, TCG family? It's your girl Tiffany, and I am back with another reading from the 12 Laws of the Universe. Join us today as we start Chapter 3, The Law of Attraction. Now, I couldn't remember if we read Chapter 3 or not, so we're going to read Chapter 3 and then move on. Happy Easter to everyone. If you are Orthodox, you are also, like me, celebrating Orthodox Easter. So, Christos Anesti. And this is what I got for the Jeep for Easter, a big purple ducky. And I got an Easter lily, which is out on my porch, getting some beautiful, beautiful sun today. As you can see, the window is open and that natural light is coming from outside. So we're going to get started on the Law of Attraction, Chapter 3. Okay. And I'll just read through really quickly because I'm not sure if we already did this, but I think we did. It's been a minute. I've been really busy. So going back to the law of vibration, we know that everything has unique vibration. The law of attraction says that vibrations of the same frequency attract each other. Higher frequency thoughts attract more of the same things, just as lower frequency thoughts attract more of the same things. When you can keep the vibration high, you will notice that things seem to go your way naturally. And things that usually disturb you don't seem to matter. Why doesn't it work? Most people like to use the law of attraction to attract things into their lives, a partner, a better job, more money, etc. This sometimes succeeds, but usually it won't. If it was, it would all be living in our dream home and be satisfied with our bodies. But we're not. There are many reasons why people do not find the results from the traditional teaching of the law of attraction. One reason is that they do not realize that there are 11 other laws that could be considered for working with this law. Another reason is that they do not match the frequency of their desires. It is not enough to want it. You need to merge the frequencies that you want. We get what we vibe, not what we ask for. I'm sure you all know someone who feels deeply this way. Brad wants to attract his dream lover, but he complains that all the good people have already been taken and that dating apps are a waste of time. Brad's suspicion is at odds with the frequency of the love he seeks. Contrary to abundance and love, it exudes a vibration of scarcity and frustration. What he needs to do is clean up his own personal energy around the theme of love and keep his thoughts and actions aligned with it. Now, this does not mean that he should pretend that he is not depressed. I suggest he should find a way to truly change his path from frustration to love. So in other words, if you keep saying something's not available and you're constantly saying like, oh, I'm going to be single forever, then you probably will be single forever because the vibrations you're putting out are that you're going to be single forever. So you're frustrated and you're not open to love. Therefore, when love is out there, it's not finding you, it's not coming to you because you have these barriers that you don't even know you're putting in place. So, some advice. You're a magnet and you experience the embodiment of the energy you release consciously or unconsciously. Look around and realize that you're attracting the real environment you live in at the moment. As you know, the law of attraction tells us that like attracts like. So in order to have the things you want in life, you have to figure out how to vibrate at the same frequency as the things you desire. So you desire love, vibrate giving love, okay? Make your environment about love. Don't be frustrated or hateful because you're not going to find love in that environment. Make sense? The more general lesson here is that being positive, proactive, and loving will bring more of the same things to your life. At the same time, pessimism, fear, and lethargy will cause you to have more negative experiences in all aspects of life. Even today, by choosing to live more positively, you are already using the law of attraction to create a better life for yourself. There's no doubt that the most talked about universal law, the law of attraction, is often used in manifestation. It says that like attracts like, and you will get what you focus on. Not only that, you must believe that what you are looking for is possible. Similar to the law of vibration in this way, the important thing is to learn to vibrate at a level that attracts what you're looking for. For example, if you want to love, but you don't give love, then you're sending a message to the universe about your priorities. If you repeat a statement, but do not believe what you say, it is useless. When we focus on what we want instead of what we don't want, it will appear in our lives. Make sense? Hey, Tuber Chat. Welcome in. Welcome in. Guys, make sure you hit that like and share me out. Share me out. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing on Reddit. I appreciate it. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to everybody. So basically, if you're saying like, I believe in God, for example, and let's say you're really not practicing doing the right things in life, or, you don't pray, you don't do any of that. How can you preach that you love God if you're not doing it yourself? Does that make sense? Or if you say, I love the color purple, but then, for example, you go around telling everyone that, well, that purple, I don't like that shade of purple. That shade of purple looks weird or something. My point is, you can't say you love something and then go around saying the opposite. Hey, Olivia, good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming. Happy Easter to everyone again. So it says, science shows that everything in the universe is ultimately composed of energy, vibrational frequency. Quantum physics have proved that although matter may appear to be solid, when it is broken down into the smallest components through a high-powered microscope, it ends up mostly in empty space with scattered energy. So even though something is solid, it breaks up into particles and it goes out into the universe. So what you're manifesting and what you're, believing in, if you surround yourself in that environment and that energy and those vibrations, that is what you're going to attract. For us, this comes in the form of thought. The truth or fact that we care about and believe will eventually be embedded in our subconscious and become our vibration. So if we have negative blockages, this kind of vibration is emitted by us. You will see some people walking upright and stand out from the crowd. They really stand out with a positive aura, and everyone feels and wants a piece of it. This does not start from the outside. This is what you resonate internally and then resonate externally. So if you see somebody and they're really a positive person and they're happy and bubbly and they're in a crowd, you're going to notice that person because they have this aura that starts from within their self, that they're just a happy, peaceful, loving person. So when you're around them, you're feeling their energy and their vibrations, and it's rubbing off on you. So you want a piece of that. You want to be around them because they're happy and they're just, feeling a good aura being around them, right? Make sense? Hey, Brett. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Easter. This is the law of vibration in action. Many people are afraid that bad thoughts or low vibrations will destroy their lives in some way because they don't realize it. The law is not a punishment, but it's a very clear mirror of our self-esteem and mentality. You are surrounded by the results of decisions that you've made in the past, and you are fully capable of making other decisions and appealing to different environments. So remember that if something is happening, something's going on, it might be something that you have made a decision about in the past, and it's having an effect on you today. You might say, well, this was a long time ago that I did this, but now this is happening. Yes, it is. And that is chapter 3. We're going to move on to chapter 4 because I think that we may have gotten through 3, not sure, but we're going to go to 4. It's the law of correspondence. As above, so below. Your inner world will determine what manifests in your outer world. Let's think about that statement for a second. Your inner world will determine what manifests in your outer world. Now, to break that down just a little bit, what you are thinking and feeling and everything that is inside of your inner world in your mind, this is your world inside your mind, it's going to determine what you're manifesting in your outer world. That's so true. What we think, what we feel, it all has to do with what we do and what we say in the world around us, to people and everything. Okay, so as above, so below. This is one of the mantras of my life because it's a simple reminder that what happens in my thinking patterns, beliefs, and feelings directly corresponds to my perception in the physical external world. This is why it's so important to do the inner work first. The tricky part is that we must first be aware of what is going on there, because many of us are troubled by the subconsciously restrictive beliefs we have since childhood. Now, let's think about that for a second. That is so true. That is so true. You first have to be aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and get in touch with who you are as a person. Maybe you don't like the person that you're being, or the person, how you feel, or, a lot of people, they go through like a depression, and, they don't want to go through depression, but it's just how they're thinking and how they're feeling. And only you have control over how you think and how you feel. Most people, they get on medications and things that they don't really need. I feel like you don't need medication. Sometimes if you just do the inner work and you subconsciously start feeling a certain way or thinking a certain way, you can change that whole aura in your subconscious of how you're thinking and how you're feeling to make that change of how you're feeling and how you're thinking on the inside. Brett saying hi to Tuber chat. All right. Money vibes. Let us take money as an example. We all want more money, right? But it is one of those topics that are not often entangled with deep-rooted restrictive beliefs. We want more money, but we never have enough money. When our neighbors announced that they would spend $50,000 on renovations, we feel jealous. When our friends could afford things we couldn't afford, we wouldn't we would say it must be good. In all these cases, it comes from fear and lack, which is certainly not the vibrations that will attract a lot of cash. If left unchecked, these belief patterns will manifest in our external reality as things like parking tickets, overdue bills, or unexpected expenses. Of course, this only reinforces belief and keeps the cycle going. So, does that make sense? If somebody wins the lottery and they win like $50,000 and you go like, "Oh, you're lucky," or "it must be nice." If you have that thought and that mentality, you're going to attract bad vibrations. You're going to attract overdue bills, parking tickets, all these things that are going to pile on you because that's the environment that you're putting your aura out into. Okay. Those vibrations are going out. Now, if a friend of yours says, "Hey, I'm gonna spend, $5,000 on vacation," and you go, "Oh, well, that's nice. You'll be able to do a lot of things, and generally mean it. Be happy for them. Don't just be like, "Oh, well, that's nice." And secretly you're like, "Man, I wish I had that $5,000. Yeah, we all wish we had $5,000. But just be happy for somebody. You don't have to have your $5,000 right now. You might get it in the future, but just generally be happy for somebody. Be happy and, supportive of your friends. Like, there's so many YouTubers on here, and I can name a few off the bat, but I won't. And they'll say, "I watch your videos and I watch them all the way through. I watch the ads, I watch everything, but you guys don't watch my videos all the way through, or you don't watch my ads, or people aren't watching my videos all the way through." So they'll put up a thing on their video and it'll be typed in letters, "Please watch the whole video." I was one of them back in the day. I used to say, "Watch the whole video." But I was kind of like informing people, because some people don't know that if you don't watch the ads, that's how we don't get paid. So for me, it was more of informing some people, because I don't really care if they watch the whole thing through. This channel was never about money for me. It was something I enjoyed to do. It was something I wanted to share with you guys, and I just enjoyed doing it. The money was a bonus, but every time I got a salary on here, I would do a giveaway and give it away. Thank you, Brett, for sharing the stream. Thank you. I appreciate it. My thing is, I'm a very busy person. I know we all are. We all have lives, but sometimes I do feel like I'm busier than most. That is a truth. And that's a truth for many. Some are very busy, busier than others, because, if you're like me, I have like 6 to 8 jobs. 6 to 8 jobs. Okay. Plus kids, a husband, things to tend to. Now, for some of you, you're single, you don't have kids. Yes, you have a life. Yes, you have work, but you're not as busy as I am. That is a fact. But for somebody to be like, "Oh, well, I watched all your video, you're not watching mine," that might be true. For me, it's not true, because even if I don't watch your video, it's still playing all the way through. I absolutely play everyone's video all the way through, all the time, all the time. I'll hit play and walk away. If I've got stuff to do, I let it play out. But on another note, Do I know for a fact that people don't watch my whole entire videos or stay for the whole streams? Yes. Do I mind? No. I don't mind. I know everybody has a life. I know everybody has things to do. Would it be nice if you just let it run and went and did what you did if you could? Yeah, absolutely. Everyone would appreciate that. But if you're not genuinely happy for other people, these are the channels that are not flourishing. These are the channels that you'll see 500 likes on their videos, and you know, when they have a video, there's like 2 comments. Or you'll see 100 likes and only like 2 comments. We all know that you're buying likes. We all know that you're buying subscribers. And we all know that you don't have the community that you portray your channel to have. We know that. Okay. We know that. So here's my thing. If you have a general channel that people enjoy and they like watching because you are a good person, they enjoy your talking, your chatting, you're engaged in conversations. Okay, these are the things that you want. You want to interact with your crowd and get feedback. Ask people, what am I doing wrong? What do you feel like I could do better? Do you enjoy my content? Would you rather that I do a mukbang instead of reading? Would you rather I do a vlog instead of sip and paint? We do many things on this channel. We do something for everyone. And that's why I believe we have so many different people who come to this channel at different times. Because if I'm reading, some people might like it, but some people might not. But tomorrow, when I do a mukbang, for example, I might have 5 different people that come over that like the mukbangs, but they don't like the readings. That's just how it is. You're going to have that. Not everybody likes everything. And that's why I do everything on this channel. So, excuse me. It's okay to be, feeling like everybody's not watching your channel, or everybody's got money but you don't, or whatever your thing is. But if you're generally happy for somebody, it's karma, it's vibrations. It will come back to you. You will be blessed. You will have good come back to you. When you put out good into the environment, it will come back to you. When you're putting bad juju out there, okay, you guys know what juju is. When you're putting bad juju out there, it will come back to you, okay? Tenfold. So you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. That is a statement right here. And that is very, very true. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So if you're a good person, you attract good friends. You attract good times. You attract abundance and money. You attract good things. If you are a bad person or a negative person, you are going to attract negativity. You are going to attract negative friends. You are going to attract negative things in life. That's just proven. All right. Instead, we must first align ourselves with the inner vibration of abundance, and then the outer reality will begin to respond accordingly. It is certainly not easy when it comes to certain topics that we emphasize, but when it comes to topics with little or no resistance, things change surprisingly fast. Many of us are unaware of our restrictive beliefs and the restraints in our vibrations. This is why meditation is very important to help you clear and calm your mind. Absolutely. I have recently became in, okay, let me say this. A long time ago, I was introduced to meditation and I was like, I'm not meditating. I think this is stupid. I'm not doing it. So I never did. I just kind of looked into it, was like, no. Well, it probably comes with age too. As you get older, you're like, let me check into this. So if you guys know Tasha from Tosh X Foul, if you don't know her, go check out her channel. Many of you might know her as Steph and Tasha from back in the day. Well, her and Steph are now divorced. She has a girlfriend named Fallon. So it's Tasha X Foul. And if you guys check out her channel, she recently just moved to Ohio. She meditates, and she recently introduced everyone on her channel on Unfiltered with Tasha, I believe, because she has 2 channels. Unfiltered with Tasha P, I think it is. But anyway, she introduced everybody to the meditating app that she uses, and I had went on there and I actually got into it to where I actually tried it once or twice, and it was actually really calming, really good. Like, it helps you get yourself calm and centered, and it really does help. So meditation is definitely key. I would definitely try meditation. I think it's great. I don't use it all the time. As a matter of fact, I have so much stuff on my phone for work and everything else. I had to end up taking the app off of my phone, so I don't remember what the app is. But it was a really great app, and it does really help. Okay, so advice. If you want to change your external environment, you must do the inner work first. Stand still, clarify, and watch your situation begin to change. As above, so below. Okay? The law of correspondence is directly related to the foundational law of divine oneness. The key idea here is that patterns repeat themselves, and they definitely do. And I will tell you guys something on that in a minute. Throughout the universe, and prominent patterns repeat themselves on small scale too. For example, think of a popular example of spiral patterns that have reappeared in many parts of the galaxy. Look for patterns in your own life and your thinking, and see how they repeat themselves in other parts of the world. When doing so, consider the types of schema changes you might make and how they would lead to large-scale changes. This law states that patterns are repeated throughout the universe and on a personal level. Our reality is a mirror of what is happening inside us at the moment. Think as above, so below, as within, so without. What is the mantra for this law? It happened for you, not to you. If our lives are chaotic and terrible, it's because we have chaos and fear inside. If our life seems calm and grounded, it is because we feel inner peace. In any worrying situation, it is advisable to ask the situation to show you aspects of yourself in areas that require internal healing. Now, I believe this 100% because our family personally has been going through a repeated process, okay, for many, many years. Many, many years. When you have lots of money, good credit, and you buy a house, okay? Yeah, you buy a house, you have, other stresses of buying a house, this, that, and the other. But there is a sense when you buy a house of peace. It's hard to explain to someone who doesn't understand it, but there's a sense of peace. It's a sense of, okay, My family has a place to live. I'm at peace. I know that I won't have to move again. Of course, unless you didn't, end up making your mortgage payment or something like that. But generally, when you buy a house, you're at peace. You know you have a home, it's yours. Now you can be at peace. You don't have to worry about some landlord, selling a home that you're in and throwing you out, and your family end up being on the street or nowhere to go. My family has been through this twice now. You all have been here. You all have been here around when the last home we lived in, the owner sold the house, didn't even tell us they sold the house. A guy showed up with a paper wanting us out in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Because he was going to do construction on the home. We had 2 dogs. We have 2 children, for the people who don't know. And we were like, what? Where are we going to go? What are we going to do in 2 weeks? You can't even pack up a house in 2 weeks. So, needless to say, we tried a lot of different shelters that would, keep our animals until we could, maybe find a place that accepted animals and whatnot. We could not. And that was the worst thing, I think, for our family to have to go through, on top of being homeless, was to have to give up our pets that we've had since they were born. And we had to give them up. Now, the one they euthanized because they said she was too old, Rosebud. You guys remember Rosebud? They said she was too old, and they said that they would not adopt her out because she was an elder dog. Now, Gucci, on the other hand, was adopted out, and we do have contact with the person who adopted her out, and we were able to see her again and get some sort of peace that she's with, a good person. She's with 2 kids, 2 little boys. And she also has a cat in the house there, and I think some other animals too, but she has a good life. So, we had peace knowing that. Do we miss her? Do we still want to see her? Of course. Who wouldn't want to see their animal they had for life? You know what I mean? But, we don't want to impose on that family all the time, like, hey, we want to see her. Hey, we want to see her. You know what I mean? It's their dog now. And, we've accepted that, but she'll always be our animal in our hearts, right? So my thing is that we went through that with one landlord, and we were in a hotel living. We were in a hotel living for 2 weeks. $600 a week is what we paid to live in a hotel. $600 a week. For most people go, what? That's $2,400 a month, okay, essentially. Most people would never, ever be able to pay that living where they live. We were there 2 weeks, and we found this place that we're in now, okay? We've been here almost 5 years, about 4.5 years. And now, because of the flooding in the basement, in the sewage, so she says, she wants us to move because she wants to sell the house. Now, we were told that we could buy the house when we moved in, but we told her, because after we moved in, okay, go back a minute. Before we moved in, we asked her, did the basement flood? She said no. She lied to us. She knew the basement flooded. The neighbor even knew the basement flooded. We found out later after moving in, signing a year contract. And for 4.5 years, we've dealt with this basement flooding. Me and my husband have cleaned up this basement several times from sewage and water and whatnot. Never once been paid to do so, which a company just charged her $52.77 to clean. So you figure if a company got paid almost $6,000 to clean it, and me and my husband been doing it free for almost 4.5 years, imagine the money that she should owe us for doing all that cleaning. Yeah. Okay. So we never asked for nothing. Our stuff that was ruined in the basement several times, that was the only thing that we wanted replaced because it was our stuff. You know what I mean? Well, we had renter's insurance, and they said, well, we had gotten backup and sewer on it because regular flooding, I guess, wasn't covered. So that's specifically what we got the renter's insurance for, was the sewage and backup, because we know that this basement does that. Well, the lady who worked there apparently marked the no box, that we didn't want that on accident or whatever. I don't know if it was an accident, but she no longer works for the company. She was fired or let go or whatever. So we just found this out when our basement was flooded and we put in a claim. They're like, you're not covered. What? Yes, we are. No, you're not. Yes, no, we specifically got it for this reason. You're not covered. The box is marked no for that coverage. And we're like, you've got to be kidding me. We know these calls are recorded. Go back and listen to the recording. Well, we don't have that recording anymore because it was so long ago, blah, 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 XYZ. We weren't going to sit there and argue about it. Okay, it's not covered. Our shit is ruined, and now we're out all of our stuff. Our landlord put in a claim to her insurance. She was able to get, well, my husband drained the basement. Okay, he did the worst part. And then the cleaning company came in and they cut the drywall, and then they basically sterilized and mopped and put all these 16 fans in our basement for 3 days, running nonstop. I can't wait to get my electric bill this month coming up, because we'll see what it costs for that. And she put in a call to her house insurance, and she said, okay, I talked to my house insurance. I'm going to send somebody out, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, they came here, they cleaned and everything. And then she gives us a text back and says, oh, I spoke to my insurance company and they're not going to pay for it. I have to pay out of pocket. Which is a lie. Absolute lie. I know it is. And I know she's doing insurance fraud, if you're watching, because they're paying for it. They paid for the company to come out. She had to pay for us to stay in a hotel for 2 nights because the whole house smelled like shit. Okay. And then we went to the hotel. Well, now she's saying that she's not going to, fix this or deal with it anymore. So she's going to just sell the house. Obviously, we're not going to buy the house at the price she wants with a flooding basement. So she didn't even offer us the house at a lower price to take off for the basement, and then we fix it ourselves. So that's how we feel like this is personal. For some reason, she wants us to just move. Now, we kind of have a few ideas of what it might be or what it might not be. But nonetheless, it's her house. She wants us to move. We have 60 days to find a house and to move. Who the hell can find a place in 60 days, pack up a whole house in 60 days with both people working 2 jobs and move? Certainly not us. Certainly not us. But we're going to try our best. So here we go from a landlord that did this before, sold the house and we had to move, to another landlord that's selling the house and we have to move again. So repetitive patterns do happen in your life. Now, the reason why, well, it just explained why. When you have a fear, let me go back and find what it was saying. Spiral patterns reappear in many parts of your own life and your thinking. Because it was saying in here, when you have a fear and what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for when you're not calm and you have a fear of, getting bad housing, which we do because we've been through it so many times, those patterns reappear. And yes, we do have that fear of moving into a house, getting a terrible landlord like we have the last 2 times, because it keeps happening. When we moved in here, we thought she was different. She was really nice. And we thought, we lucked out. We have a really great landlord. She's really nice. And anytime something needed fixed, for the most part, she would, try to get it done for us. And sometimes it took a while. Matter of fact, our kitchen light never got fixed. It's still unfixed. There's a lot of stuff we could take her to court for, but like I said, we don't want to be bothered with it. We don't want all the drama. We don't want all the negativity. We've come to realize she's not a very good person. It was all an act. But here's the whole thing, is that when you have a fear, an inner fear of things being wrong, moving into rentals, and you keep that fear in your mind and in your head, it's going to keep coming out. We cannot control that. Our minds keep thinking that we're going to get a bad landlord because we keep getting bad landlords. So basically, the 12 laws of the universe is telling us, if we can clear our minds, meditate, and say, listen, we have no control over what's going to happen. All we can do is just move into another place, hope for a good landlord, hope for the best, and don't overthink it. Then maybe, just maybe, the universe will start to change and we might get a good landlord to where we don't have to worry about moving again, or maybe if we bought a house, and we don't worry about moving again, it might work out. So it's saying do the inner work, and the inner work will then start showing you what can happen once you start working on yourself. I know that was a bit off topic and out of story, but let's finish this chapter. Okay. So, what is the mantra for this law? It happened for you, not to you. We remember that. If our lives are chaotic and terrible, it's because we have chaos and fear inside. If our life seems calm and grounded, it is because we feel inner peace in any worrying situation. It is advisable to ask the situation to show you aspects of yourself in the areas you require internal healing. So I read that again because that's very important. If you feel inner peace in any worrying situation, you're just like, okay, we have to move. No problem. We'll just put our stuff in storage and we'll stay in a hotel. And if we find a place, we find a place. If we don't, we'll stay in the hotel. Don't worry about it. Let things just happen as they may. Whatever. Most people have heard the old adage that our external world is just a reflection of what is happening inside of us. That's very true. Well, this is the meaning of the law of corresponding. Our reality is the result of most dominant inner thoughts. For example, we often hear people say everything spiraled up from that event or situation. This is usually because our minds allow more negative events to occur during this time because our thoughts are deep in our minds. If our inner world is full of negative thoughts, then our outer world will become a reflection of our thoughts. Very true. We were told we had to move. We're worried. What are we going to do? We got 60 days, blah, blah, blah. We have all these worrying thoughts. A few days later, a cabinet in the garage fell on the Challenger, dented and scratched it up. So more negative things have happened. $500 deductible on top of that. So it's a spiral effect. But how do we turn our inner thoughts into positive thoughts that attract positive external situations? We just change our paradigm. When you change your paradigm, most of the inner thoughts from your subconscious will change, bringing success, happiness, and positive results to your life. The premise behind the law of correspondence is that our lives are created by the subconscious patterns that we repeat every day, which serve us or stop us. Activate this law by understanding your own patterns, which are usually passed down through family ties, and then consciously take steps to break them. Yes. Thoughts are always passed down from family. When you are brought up in a household with 5 kids, and let's say you're fighting and arguing every day, okay? As you grow up, you get your own family. You will probably fight every single day or close to every day about something, even little things, okay? It's generational curses, okay? It's passed down through family ties. You are used to living this way, so this is the way you live. You need to break those patterns and consciously take steps to break them. So in my family, many of you might not know, many of you may have saw a video that I did before where I may have mentioned something about it, but I have a brother who is in prison. I have another brother who was in and out of jail a lot. My father was in jail, prison, whatever you want to call it, growing up. My father was a drug addict. In my family, I have family members that are drug addicts. So it's passed down from generations, okay, through family ties. As I was growing up, I could have succumbed to those family ties and said, I'm going to use the drugs or be a criminal or do this or do that. But growing up, I wanted nothing to do with anything that had to do with any of that. So I did a complete 360 opposite. I wanted nothing to do with people who were on drugs. I wanted nothing to do with people who were criminals. And that even meant not talking to family members. For the longest time, I didn't talk to my brother. For the longest time, I didn't talk to my sister. For the longest time, I didn't talk to family members because of this. And it wasn't because I thought I was better than them. It wasn't because I thought that they were disgusting or beneath me or anything like that. Because let's face it, and I will say this, and this is my opinion. People who are on drugs are not bad people. People who are in jail or in prison, for the most part, now there are a lot that are not bad people. If you're in jail or prison from stealing or drugs or something like that, that's, not killing someone, you're not a bad person. I think some people turn to drugs or stealing because their upbringing, their situations. My mother raised 5 kids by herself. I was 6 years old when my father passed away. It was a hard life. Utilities were being cut off at different times. We'd have to go to my aunt's or different places to take baths or showers. Food was never a problem because, you know, back in the day, they had those food lines or government cheese lines or whatever you want to call it. And I'm not too proud to say that my mother fed us through those hot pockets or cheese lines, because guess what? It fed us. She took care of her kids. She wasn't out there doing drugs or, you know, running in the street. She was home with her 5 kids. Now, did she have a lot of questionable boyfriends? Absolutely. Some drug addicts, some alcoholics, yes. But she had a rough life. She was trying to raise 5 kids on her own. Is it her fault that her kids turned into criminals or drug addicts? No. Everybody has a choice. Everybody has a life to live. But it's generational family ties, okay? The way you're brought up has a lot to do with how you are as an adult. Some people don't understand it because they've never lived that life. And until you've lived that life, you'll never understand it. Hopefully, nobody ever has to live that life because it's not fun. Now, I know there's people in other countries that are poorer than we are and have it worse off than we do. Of course there is. But my thing is that, you know, everything happens for a reason. People can change their life. They don't have to succumb to those generational ties, those family ties. Hell, matter of fact, I cut a lot of family ties for many years because I didn't want to be around people that did certain things, like treat our kids, you know, mean or rude or differently than the other kids in the family. You know, it's just, you have to make your own decisions that are right for you and your family. You can't keep continuing to live the way that your family lives. You have to live for what's right for you. And if it means cutting family ties, do it. Do it. Take those steps to break those family ties. Don't feel bad about it. You only have one life to live. And how you live it is what matters. Because when you're gone, nobody's going to talk about, well, that person didn't do this or this or this. You know, what they're going to remember is what kind of person you were. What kind of person you were inside. Did you love everybody? Were you a good-hearted person? Would you do anything for anyone? Now, listen, a lot of people think I'm a bitch. I'm just saying. A lot of people think that I'm a bitch. And I could be, if provoked. But there's another thing that a lot of people don't know about me, is I'm probably one of the best people you'll ever meet. The kindest hearted person you'll ever meet, because I would do anything for anyone. And I don't even have to know you. I've fed strangers in the street. I've fed the homeless. I've, you know, given people food. I've given people clothing. I've done so many things that you don't see me out here recording, because those things don't need to be recorded. And you might say, well, yeah, well, how do people know that you're doing this if you don't record it? You know, sometimes I think that's true, because there's a channel that I watch and he feeds the homeless and whatnot, and he records it. because his views and the people watching are what helps him get revenue to keep continuing to do that. And I understand that. I do understand that. What I don't understand is how he has to put everybody's face on that video. There's a feature on here that you can blur out people's face. You can still see their body, but you can blur out their face. And I feel like he should do that. I don't feel like you should put everybody's face in the public to show that these people are hungry, or they need clothing, or a place to stay, or this or that, just to generate revenue. You don't need to embarrass somebody or degrade somebody just to get revenue. You can still record it, but blur out their face. You don't have to show who they are to get revenue. You don't have to do that. So don't tell me, oh, well, he needs these views to get money and this and that. No, you don't. No, you don't. You absolutely don't. I think you can do good, but you don't have to degrade somebody doing it. You can give somebody food and you don't have to show their face. If you want to show people the good you're doing so that it catches on and other people do it, that's fine. But don't show their face. Blur it out. Put a sticker over it. Whatever you have to do. They still see that you're feeding somebody. They'll still know what you're doing without you embarrassing somebody. Because trust me, it's embarrassing for some people to be on the street, not have food, not have a place to live. Maybe they haven't shaved in like 10 years and they got a big beard with like dirt in it and stuff, you know? That's embarrassing. You don't have to put people out like that just to show how hungry they are or, you know, how much they need somebody. And I challenge every one of you watching this video, if you watched it to the end, which I only see one person in here at this time. I know I went a little off topic, but that's the end of the chapter. So I just wanted to kind of touch base on a few things. It's Easter. Have a heart. Jesus has resurrected. Okay? Do something nice for somebody, at least today, one day. Do something nice for somebody. Go feed a homeless person. Go give somebody clothing or a warm place to go to. Pay for their hotel for the night. Do something. And record it. Record it. Blur out their face. Because I want to see how many views you get if you blur out their face. Is it going to be the same amount of views that somebody else is getting that's showing their face? Let's put a stop to the people who are posting people's videos with their faces. Show people that they can generate revenue by blocking people's face and still helping and still doing good. So I challenge you guys, go help somebody. Happy Easter to everyone. I hope you all enjoyed that chapter. The next chapter will be chapter 5, the law of action. Manifestation requires aligned action. That will be our next chapter that I will read at another time. Happy Easter to all my Orthodox people, Christos Anesti. And I will see you in our next video. You all stay blessed, not stressed. And I'm off to make my Lego lamb. I might video record, but I might not. Have a great day. Bye.